Hey guys, what's up? Derek from Bomb Socks here with another week of Bomb Bites, feasting upon the words of Christ, one lovely bite at a time. So this week we're supposed to do Alma 32 through 35, and as soon as I saw Alma 32, I'm just like, oh my gosh, where do I even start? Because there's so much going on here. You could spend a month in Alma chapter 32 and still not do it justice. So I thought I'd start at the beginning, which is a very good place to start. You go through the first 16 verses or so. You have got a group of individuals that are they're struggling because they've been trying to worship God. They've been trying to go in and worship with the Zoramites, which, remembering the Zoramites are a rich, prideful, they're looking all kinds of good. They get up on top of the Rameumptom. They're reciting their holy prayer, how cool they are and how bad everyone else is. And so these individuals are having a difficult time doing that. As the Zoramites are casting them out, it says, because of the coarseness of their apparel. Now, Alma, in verse number 2, Alma and his dream team, all-star group of missionaries, they're finding success with them, which is interesting because ask anybody who's served a mission who they generally, not always, but who they generally had the most success with. And it's most likely going to be the poor people, those whose situations have brought them low in their life to a point where they have nowhere else to look to but to God. And when you've got a couple of missionaries who show up at their house, some of them are just like, we have nowhere else to turn. And that's not a bad place to be in. So verse number 3 and verse number 4, Alma uses the phrase poor in heart to describe them. So poor in heart is an interesting place to be. In verse number 6, Alma says, now when Alma had heard this, he'd heard that these guys had been in a situation of exceeding poverty. And Alma in verse number 6 says, when Alma heard this, he turned him about, his face immediately towards him, and he beheld with great joy. For he beheld that their afflictions had truly humbled them, and that they were in a preparation to hear the word. So again, the similar situation to what anybody who has served a mission amongst a lot of poor people, generally their situation has prepared them to hear the word of God. Now, verse number 8 has one of the coolest little phrases here. Alma says, I behold that ye are lowly in heart, and if so, blessed are ye. Now let me pause right here. There's a cool little footnote that takes you over to Matthew chapter 5. And if you're familiar with Matthew chapter 5, that's where Jesus teaches the Sermon on the Mount. And right out the gate of the Sermon on the Mount, you've got these things called the Beatitudes, which means to be in a blessed or a happy situation. So again, back in Alma 32, he says, man, if you are lowly in heart, you are so blessed. You go right to the Beatitudes. The very first thing Jesus says in these Beatitudes, verse number 3 of Matthew 5, he says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The footnote actually adds a little bit to that. It says, poor in pride or humble in spirit. And so Jesus is apparently willing to give the kingdom to people who have humbled themselves, who are poor in pride and who are rich in humility. Now, their situation had humbled them. You fast forward a little bit and you go to 3rd Nephi chapter 12, where Jesus is teaching the Nephites, where he says the very same thing to them. He says to them in 3rd Nephi 12, blessed are the poor in spirit who come unto me, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So you got two groups of individuals right here, those whose situation has humbled them and those who choose to come unto Jesus regardless of their situation. Now, the result is the same. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And you're going to see that if you go all the way back to Alma chapter 32. In fact, before you go to Alma 32, I want you to, we're going to jump all over the place right here. In the Come Follow Me manual, it says to look up in gospel topics, to go look up humility. And this is a great little thing you can do as a family, you can do it as an individual, but take a minute, read, there's just a couple of paragraphs there about humility, and then there's some verses you can look up right there and see what else it teaches you about being humble, because apparently Jesus loves that. And he wants to give you the kingdom if you are humble. So we'll take a minute and look over those, and we'll come back and finish up.
Do you suppose that you must not worship God only once in a week? It is well that ye are cast out of your synagogues, that ye may learn wisdom. For it is because ye are cast out that ye are brought to a lowliness of heart. For ye are necessarily brought to be humble. And now, because ye are compelled to be humble, blessed are ye. For a man sometimes, if he is compelled to be humble, seeketh repentance. And now surely whosoever repenteth shall find mercy. And he that findeth mercy and endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. And because you were compelled to be humble, you were blessed. Do you not suppose that they are more blessed who truly humbled themselves because of the word? Yea, he that truly humbleth himself, repenteth of his sins, and endureth to the end, the same shall be blessed.
So the idea there is, President Benson said this years ago, and it's a great quote: God will have a humble people. Either you can choose to be humble, or he will compel you to be humble. Having done both in my life, may I recommend the choosing to be humble? It is so much better. The result can often be the same. Sometimes we are driven to our knees because of the adversity that we have in our lives. Other times, we go to our knees when things are good. I remember someone suggested this for Fast Sunday. There was one time I didn't know what to fast for, and someone said, "How's your life going?" And I said, "It's going pretty good." And they suggested, "Why don't you start fasting because things are good? Fast out of gratitude. Pray out of gratitude." And that fosters that humility. I'm sure you read some verses there and saw some of the definitions right there that really helps you understand humility. Humility will get you the kingdom of God. It is a much better situation to choose to be humble, as is said right here. So anyway, I love that message right here, and it's a great message for the world that we live in right now that needs a little extra dose of humility right now. And boy, wouldn't that bless people's lives. Anyway, hope that helps a little bit. You guys have an amazing day, and tomorrow we're going to play around with a different aspect of Alma 32 that I think is tied very nicely to this whole idea of choosing to be humble. Hey, you guys have an amazing day. Thanks for sharing, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. You guys have an amazing day. See ya. Bye-bye.